And this is where it gets really fun, because this is the decorating part. This is just a scrap of leather I'm going to use to show you. Things that you will need: a small amount of water, a stamp of your choosing, should you have chosen to purchase one, a lead pencil that has had the lead removed, and a compass, again with a lead pencil installed that has had the lead removed. So basically, you need a concept of what you're going to put on the cover first, because unlike other materials, leather is unforgiving. Once you draw something on there, or once you make an indentation, it's on there permanently. That being said, it's actually quite easy to work with. What you want to do is wet the surface of the leather and wipe off any excess. And what this will do is this will make the surface of the leather malleable, incredibly malleable. So say, for example, you want a circle. We're actually going to use the compass backwards. So you're actually going to plant the pencil and turn either the leather or the pin, and it will cut into the surface of the leather, giving you a perfect circle. Now you can put a little piece of eraser or something under there so you don't get that indentation. For the designs for the patterns I was doing, it didn't matter. The other thing you can do is you can use the lead pencil that has had the lead removed to hand draw. And basically what you're actually doing is you're scribing into the surface of the leather, and since the leather is wet and it's not sealed yet, these will stay. Now, where the stamp comes in is, and the stamp is optional, if you just want to draw designs, that's fine. The stamp will actually give you some depth to texture. For example, this is the smallest stamp I could find. It is loosely a triangular shaped stamp, but for demonstration purposes, we will draw the body of a fish here. And then with the stamp, you can note that, and you can use a hammer to press down, or you can just press down by hand, that I'm doing the fins on the fish with the stamp, and it has a textured pattern to it. So just to finish this off, and you can see that if you repeatedly use the stamp in the same area, it gives you a slightly perforated waffle texture. Now, when using the stamp for shading or effects like that, if you think of old black and white newspapers and how they only literally had two colors of black and white, so they would use almost a pointillism type of technique to loosely add shading or edging around something. You can do that here. And you can see that with the stamp, it starts to curve in. And I'll just go ahead and finish off this bit. And you can see it's now more of a permanent inset, and it does have, though the camera may not pick it up perfectly, a bit of a texture to it. Now, this is pretty much a basic example that I'm using, and as you saw, I did it in a few minutes. Once again, before you decide what you're going to put on your Nook cover, you need to really lay it out in your head. What do you want to put on there? As I'd indicated earlier, my goal was to put the seal of Rassilon on there because I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I was going with the Doctor Who theme, so I did the pocket watch from one of the couple of the David Tennant episodes. For the Chameleon Arch. And the nice thing about this is you can wet this, work on it for a while, let it dry out, re-wet it, work on it again until you're satisfied with what you need. What I did on my cover, going with the Doctor Who theme, considering these patterns are a bit intricate, I did 5 half-hour sessions, one over the past couple days, and to show you the kind of results you can get, this is the end result. As I mentioned, the leather is darker because I left it set in the sun for a couple days to tan, but you can see clearly the seal of Rassilon there, slightly enlarged, and all of this was done with just the compass and that single $7 stamp and the pencils. And then you can see below that I did the pocket watch from the Chameleon Arch and tried to reproduce it as closely as possible. And then just for giggles on the back, what will be the back corner, I put a impression of a TARDIS key from the Tom Baker era of the TV series. So that's going to be the cover. Now, you have options at this point. If you just want to do the embossed areas like this, and you're fine with just the color of the leather, and you just want it embossed like this with the raised texture, you can stop at this point and go to the point in the video where we're going to apply the top coat. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm actually going to go back and use a black leather dye, which we'll be getting to in just a few moments of your time. And I'm going to go back and start inking in all of these deep lines, so it'll have that black outline look on top of the leather to make it more distinctive. Okay, the next phase is to begin inking our design. This is, and you can get this from the Tandy Leather Shop as well, this is Sebring's leather dye. This is U.S. Marine Corps black. For my design, I'm just going to ink everything in black, giving it kind of a tattoo kind of look. This does come in the standard 8-pack Crayola variety of colors, so you can get very intricate with multiple colors and multiple designs. It also comes with a little dauber for using it. Now, this isn't really going to do a lot for us because this is meant to smooth the dye onto boots or belts or vests or anything like that. For our purposes, you can use a small paintbrush, or what I did in this instance is I actually poured some of the dye into a little container. And be very careful with the dye. You'll notice I am wearing vinyl gloves. It's not going to hurt you, but it is a royal pain to get off your hands. I also recommend that you wear clothing you don't mind if you get a couple drops on, because it's never going to come out of fabric. That being said, it's actually very easy to use. It's not unlike using any other type of ink. What I'm using, because of the admittedly absurd amount of detail in the designs I've chosen, I went a bit far. I'm using a cheap $2 calligraphy pen from Michaels, and all you can do is just dip it into the ink and just start filling in your design. And if you're just highlighting the creases, all you have to do is run it right along the creases, and you can see you're getting a nice straight black line. Now, I'm not fluent with calligraphy, but anybody that is could be rather creative with scriptive writing. But again, this, like the leather, this ink is permanent, and once it's down, it's not coming up. There's no eraser. It's there for good. So I would advise that you practice on some scraps of leather, which the people at my local Tandy Leather were kind enough to give to me. And there you can see I've just inked the circle. For solid areas, you can just start streaking along and filling in that way. Now, for large areas that you're going to fill in, a cheap disposable small paintbrush will do exactly the same thing for you. Again, I'm just using the calligraphy pen approach because the designs I impressed upon the leather were a little over the top. So I'm going to have to be a little sick when it comes to retaining the level of detail on them. But as you can see, this goes down pretty easy, and within 24 hours of applying it, it's ready to top coat. Now again, just like when you're tooling the leather, you don't have to do all of this in one sitting. You can spread it out over multiple days or weeks, or just whenever you feel like working on it until it's finished. I'm going to show you, when we get back, I'm going to show you my inked Nook cover with the die-in to the intricacies, and then we'll do probably the easiest part of the project, which will be sealing it.